really work on pushing the opposite shoulder down to the ground. Keep your knees and your feet tight together. We'll keep going with this for about another 30 seconds. Oh, just realised I haven't got you all muted. I need to do that. Okay. Keep going, 10 more seconds. Okay, that's better. Good, good, good. Hi! And then side chest openers. So lie on the side, using your cushion now. Put the cushion underneath your head and then open up your top arm. You don't have to use a cushion for this, but it just makes it a lot more comfortable if your head is resting on something. And then if you feel that you can do it, look over at your hand as you're opening up your top arm. This can make you feel a bit dizzy, so if it does, just keep looking straight ahead. Well done. We'll go for about another 10 seconds. And then roll over, other side. So again, resting your head on a cushion if you've got one handy. Keep going. If you feel like your legs are coming off the floor a little bit, you can drop your top leg down over just to anchor yourself in place. Last few seconds. And then come up onto your knees. 1 foot forward, opposite hand down, and then go for that nice big thoracic rotation. Look at your hand if you can, but look down at the floor if that makes you feel dizzy. Keep going. Good. Change sides. Well done. Hi Jane. Keep going. Good. Just do one more. And then come up to stand. And we're going to do some leg swings. So be really strict about what your torso is doing. Don't let your torso hinge forward and back. Keep your body completely still, all the movement coming from your hip. If that means that you have to bend your leg a little bit to swing forward and back, that's absolutely fine. But I want you to think about really bracing your core and not letting your torso move. Good, well done. Beautiful. And change legs. And Louise, you can tell you're a dancer, your leg swings are just incredible. Charlotte, those leggings are epic. I absolutely love them. They're so good. feel like mine are very dull.
Honestly, I still feel embarrassed wearing them every time.
Don't feel embarrassed. They're awesome. Good. Then side to side swing. So same principle. Try not to let your torso move. Keep everything still above the waist if you can, and then swing across your body. I mean, these were adventurous for me because I've moved away from black, and they're still very dark. I've only had black leggings for years.
There's a couple of other people that are teachers in Charlton Kings that run, and made the suggestion when I put the shout out on the running group.
Change sides. I think it's a great fashion. Brightly coloured leggings are fantastic. Alright, keep going, just do a few more. Good. Now, onto all fours. So we're going to do some pelvic rocks, but on all fours. So you need to have your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. So what is quite tempting to do is to start moving into a cat to cow movement doing this, but I want you to think about keeping all the movement from below your waist. So you're tucking your bum under and then just rocking back a little bit the other way. And when you tuck your bum under, really work on pulling your tummy up towards your spine. So you're tucking under and pulling up. And if you have enough control, try and pull up your pelvic floor a little bit as well. So when you tuck your bum under, you're pulling up your tummy towards your spine, pulling up your pelvic floor a little bit. This is a much harder way of doing a pelvic rock than lying on your back, because you haven't got the floor against your back to kind of cue and work against. So as you go through these, hopefully you'll feel it easier, a little bit easier each time, just to pull up your tummy. And try and keep breathing normally as well. 15 more seconds. Try not to let your back arch too much. It's the tucking under part of this that's the most important one. 5 seconds. Good, and then roll onto your back. Lie on your back with your arms outstretched and your palms down. So when you're doing this movement, you might actually want to really actively push your arms into the floor to stabilise you. And then you're going to bring your legs up, knees and feet apart. So if you've got that cushion handy, you can use the cushion to keep your legs in position. So if you put the cushion between your knees, and then you're going to roll from side to side. Now, depending on your core strength, that will dictate how much you can roll from side to side. If you feel comfortable doing this, then you can just try and rock a little bit further. If you're finding it really challenging, then just do a really small movement. And you should feel this in your mid-back as much as anywhere else. Try and keep your feet at about knee height. And as you go through this sequence, just try and work on rocking a little bit more from side to side. I've made this hard for myself because I haven't got a cushion between my knees. It's a weighted soft plate, which actually I'm really regretting now. I normally use a foam roller for these. Keep going. So use your arms on the floor to help stabilise you. You can push your upper back into the floor, upper arms down. Keep going. We're going to do a few more seconds. Good. 3, 2, 1. And then put the cushion down. Legs back up, but they're not moving now. And now you're going to do arms only, dead bugs. So try and keep your feet at knee height. back pushed down to the floor. If this is too challenging for your lower back, just bring your knees into your chest slightly. And it's thumb down to the ground. Well done. So if you're finding this really easy, if it's not in any way challenging, you can just let your legs drop out towards the floor a little bit, just to increase the difficulty now. As long as you can keep the lower back on the floor, you can make it harder. 10 more seconds. And then just hug your knees into your chest for a few seconds. And then we're going to move into bent leg drops. So head up in your hands, just to help keep your back on the floor, and tap your heel lightly down to the ground. So if you want to make this easier, your start position should be with your knees a bit closer into your chest. If you want to make it harder, let your knees drop out and drop from there. So you should feel this, the lower bit of your core, so sort of below tummy button. You might feel it in your thighs a little bit as well, that's okay. Keep going. So doing this for 45 seconds, you've got another 10 to go. So if you're at Run Fit on Saturday, I do apologise, you've done these a few days ago. Good, and then done. Roll over onto your front. Half plank taps. So we're doing this on your knees anyway, but if this still feels too challenging, the way you can make it easier, just elegantly crawl over to my bench, is to do it against a raised surface. You can use a table, back of a chair, you can use something to make it a little bit easier, but I'd like you to try and do it on the floor. So, hands underneath shoulders, bum tucked under. You should be a straight line between your knees and your shoulders, and then you're either going to do a tap to the back of your hand or a tap to your shoulder. Go for the one that you find the more challenging. You can choose which one you do. And think about this as an anti-rotation exercise. So as you rock from side to side when you're tapping your hand or your shoulder, you will move. But I want you to try and brace your core to limit the movement as much as possible. So you should feel this in the front of your tummy, but also around to the sides a little bit. And the harder you brace against the rotation, the more you'll feel it in the sides. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. And then roll onto your side. Side plank. Again, you can make this more challenging if you want to push into a full side plank, but probably start with the easier version to start off with. So resting on your leg, other leg straight out. Make sure your elbow's directly under your shoulder. You're going to start with your hand up, and then you're going to lower it down to the floor, just tapping lightly, and then bringing that up again. This is another anti-rotation exercise. So this arm movement will want to make your body lean forward and move with your arm, and you're trying to resist that rotation. So by that I mean keeping your top hip on top of your lower hip. Lovely, well done. And change sides. So before you start to move, make sure everything's braced nice and tightly, and then tap. We're doing 3 sets of these, and I'll give you little progressions that you can do with each set if you feel ready for them. So don't just think about your top hip staying, think about your shoulders as well. So you're trying not to let your whole body rotate, keeping your top shoulder on top of your bottom one. Good, do one more. Perfect, and then roll back onto your back. Bent leg drops again. So your progression for this would be to start with your legs a little bit further out and then drop from there. Only do this if you're ready. Off you go. Good, well done. Lovely, well done. Keep it slow and steady to make sure your knees come back together before the other leg drops. Good. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Plank tap. So if you started with a raised surface, now think about going onto the floor and doing a hand tap. If you started with a hand tap, try and go for a shoulder tap. And if you're doing the shoulder tap and that was nice and easy, go for a straight arm, full straight arm plank now. Off you go. So if you've gone to a full straight arm plank, you can start with a hand tap if you want to, because you want to be able to progress again for the last set. Well done. Good. Keep going. And all the time think about bracing against that rotation. So as you tap your hand and you feel your hips moving, you want to just bring your tummy up to your spine, brace your core and try and stop yourself from moving too much from side to side. Last few seconds, 2, 1, done, and then plank. So only progress this if you are absolutely solid in this position. So if your hips were moving, if your whole body was rotating forward, stick with doing it resting on your knee. If you feel you can, you could try doing a full side plank. The other way you can progress is holding a light weight. So a tin of beans, you can make it a bit harder doing it that way. But this is pretty challenging without progressing it. And change sides. I hope the sun's trying to come out. That'll be nice. Bit of Monday morning sunshine. Off you go. Try and look at your hand while you're doing this as well, just to make sure that your hand ends up directly above your shoulder. Keep your hips pulled up all the time. Last few seconds. Good. And then onto your back. Last set of these. So the way that we can progress the bent leg drop this time, if you want to, is to go one leg, other leg, both legs. So turning that in from a single to a double leg drop will make it a lot harder. Off we go. So only do that if, when you've got your both legs dropping out to the floor, that you can brace your core and keep your back pushed down. Well done. So the double leg drop is a lot harder. Only do it if you feel you're ready. Good. 5 seconds. Perfect. Good. Half plank or full plank. So try and progress to the full plank for this last one. But if you feel that you've got a lot of movement through your hips, then keep your knees dropped to the floor. All right, off you go. One way you can give yourself a little bit more stability if you're doing the full plank is to just take your feet a little bit wider apart. Well done. And be really careful about your shoulder position as well. Make sure that your hands directly underneath your shoulders, don't let them drift forward. You want to protect your shoulder joints. Good. 3, 2, 1. Done. Perfect. Onto your side plank. Have a go at doing it in the full position now, but it is challenging, you don't have to. If you want to make it harder with your leg still bent underneath you, if you've got a light weight, then you can use that. And that just adds a little bit more difficulty while keeping your hips nice and stable. Keep going. I just need to check my Wi-Fi connection. I've got a horrible feeling I'm on the wrong one. Okay, good. And change sides. Off you go. So that's the last one of this sequence now. Well done. So while you're going through this, if you're getting tired, you might find that your hips start to drop. So just keep your hips pushed up. Last few seconds. 3, 2, 1, and done. Good. Right. Next 3 exercises. So this is where you can use the cushion if you've got one, or a lightweight, but you do need a weight for these exercises. A cushion is absolutely fine though. So I'll show you all 3 while you have a rest, and then we can start doing them. So the first one, kneeling press. Think about right angles. So I've got my foot pretty much underneath my knee, resting my back foot, so you can either rest on your toes or you can have your foot long behind you. Got my left leg forward, left arm raised, and I'm going to press with my right arm. So we've done this a few times recently. That's the first one. Then you're going to do some squats. So using one weight. So you can hold this however you want to. You can rest it on your shoulder or you can hold it into your chest, but you're basically holding the weight with one hand and the other arm is out in front of you. And you're going to squat down. So your mobility and your strength will dictate how low you can get into the squat, but I want you to really focus on keeping your chest high. And then we'll change sides, other arm out. So having that arm out in front of you while you squat will just add a little bit of instability. It'll make your core work a bit harder. And the last one is a bent over fly. So you only need to have one weight for this. Bent over, all the way over. So imagine you've got a tray resting on your back with some coffee on it. And you're going to bring one arm out to the side. So tin of beans or a water bottle is ideal. You don't want anything too heavy for this. It's a really hard movement. And then we'll go for the other side. Right, so let's start with press. Weight in one hand. What have we all got? We've got water bottles, we've got tins. We've got some actual dumbbells, well done. Alright, off you go. So think about your elbow position. The arm that you're pressing, try and keep the elbow pointing forward. You're trying to use your upper back as much as possible, and if your arm drifts out to the side, you'll start to use your chest muscles. So by keeping your elbow pointing forward, you'll use your upper back as much as possible. And the leg that you're kneeling on, that back glute, squeeze it. That's the bit of your body that's helping to stabilise you. So squeeze that glute, keep it nice and tight. Perfect. Change sides. Yeah, knee on the cushion if it helps. Actually, kneeling on a cushion not only is nice for your knee, but will add a little bit of instability as well, Charlotte. So it'll make it even harder. Keep that arm raised up in front of you as well. Good. So the reason you've got your arm out is that will just help to stabilise your shoulders. It'll stop you from rotating too much. Good. Last few seconds. That looks really nice, well done. Good, and then the squats. So depending on what weight you've got, that will kind of dictate where you hold it. You can hold a dumbbell on your shoulder. If you've got a dumbbell, you can hold it across your chest. Just make sure it's comfortable, but the other arm is going to be straight out in front of you. Okay, off you go. So it's that raised arm that's the bit that's destabilising you. Having your arm straight out in front of you will sort of want to tip you forward. So you need to really brace your core and work against it. Lynn, if this is okay for your knees, you can try a wider stance or a narrower stance, but try and do the squat. Good, change sides. After Miles said that we should be squatting. Got to keep doing it. Okay. Well done. Anyways, I love her little single-sided bunch. That's just so cute. It's so adorable. Good, well done. Is she wearing a backpack with a little harness? Oh, oh my goodness. Good, and done. Right, bent over flies. So just to show the technique again, it's really important that you get your technique right doing this. If you do the exercise like that, then you're not using the right muscles. It's like in that, the kneeling press. If you have your arms out to the side, we use your chest. If you do this fly to upright, again, you'll end up using your chest and your arm, and I want you to use your upper back as much as possible. So you need to be all the way over. So imagine you've got a tray on your back with a really, really hot cup of coffee on it. And if you come up, that tray will slip. So you need to stay all the way over. Off you go. And think about your shoulders as well. So make sure your upper back isn't round to keep your shoulders pulled back and engaged. What you should feel fairly quickly is a nice burn in the back of your shoulder into your upper back. You don't need a heavy weight for this. You can even do this body weight only. Good, and then change sides. If you can feel it working in your lower back, pull your tummy up towards your spine, keep your core engaged. Bend your knees a little bit. You can stick your bum out more behind you as well. That will help. Look at you. Yeah, good. Well done. And your last teaching point is just to be aware of how high you're raising your arm. You don't want your hand to come any higher than your shoulder. Perfect. And rest. Nice, well done. Have a little drink. I haven't given you much rest today. Being a bit mean. I think, Eloise, those backpacks with the handle, one of the greatest ever inventions for children. Neither of my boys would wear a harness, but as soon as it was the rucksack, I could contain them. All right, let's go again. So kneeling press. How are we doing for time? Perfect. So same as before. Arm out in front of you, and the glute of your back leg, just squeeze it. Kind of tuck your bum under a little bit. Off we go. Try and get your core and your bum working as much as possible. You all look great doing this. It's really nice. Well done. So you really don't need a heavy weight for this exercise. It's not about the weight that you're pushing above your shoulder. It's about keeping your whole body stable while something moves. So this is another anti-rotation exercise. Lots of these today. And then change sides. Good. Well done. Ooh. Nearly went then. My stability on this side is not as good. Right, last few seconds. Fab, done. Up you get. Squats. So if squats irritate your knees, you can do these with different leg positions. So you could try doing the squat with your legs wider. That can sometimes help. Or you can do a narrower stance squat where you're keeping your knees close together. So if it does irritate your knees a little bit, just try changing your leg position. So I prefer doing squats with my legs slightly wider apart, just pushing my bum back. Well done. Shift inside. So trying to keep my knees as far back as possible. So not doing that, but doing that. Keeping your heels down. Change sides. Good. And if you're working in socks or bare feet, these will be even more challenging. Good, just do a couple more. Perfect, and then bent over flies again. I'm actually going to swap that thing out for a little dumbbell. It's quite awkward to hold. Alright, so feet hip width apart. All the way over. Brace your core, put your tummy up to your spine, bring that weight up. So this is the most sort of technically challenging of the exercises today. If you can feel your lower back working or if you think your back is rounded, think about pushing your bum back, keeping your shoulders active. Good, well done. And change sides. Time. Good. Got one more round of these to go. Well done. Last few seconds. Good. Right, one more round. Kneeling press again. In fact, have a quick drink and we'll give you a few seconds rest. Alright, kneeling press, last one. If it is uncomfortable kneeling on the floor, then you can put a cushion under your knee. Okay, so bum tucked under, core braced, off we go. Well done. Fab. Really nice, well done. A few more seconds. As your arm gets tired, it's very easy to let it drift out to the side, so just keep focusing on putting that elbow forward and change sides. So bum tucked under, core braced. Off you go. Really think about squeezing your bum cheek, that back leg. That will help to stabilise you, particularly if one side's a bit more wobbly than the other. Last few seconds. Good. Squats. Okay, get ready. Off you go. So really think about keeping your chest up. Look straight ahead. Keep your heels pushed down into the floor. Trying to get the backs of your legs working as much as possible doing these. Well done. 5 seconds. Change sides. Good. Well done. Looking good, well done. The great squats, well done. Standing up nice and tall as well. Make sure you get everything out of this exercise. 5 seconds. And done. Last set of bent over flies. So feet back to hip width, hinging forward. Off you go. So you want to make sure you're looking straight down, but just keep an eye on where your hand is coming. It's very easy to let your arm go beyond shoulder height, but we talked about protecting shoulder joints today. And going up to shoulder height will do that, but also if you go too high, you rotate a little bit and you'll start to use your waist, and I want this to be all about your upper back. Change sides. Well done. Good. Two, one, done. Fab. Right, last couple of exercises to finish off with. So using a cushion, you will need a cushion. Eloise, that looks like fun. Is that whole bag going to be empty on the floor now? Yay! Okay, so onto your back. First exercise. You're just going to rest the cushion across your shins. So while it won't weigh anything, it's awkward and it will make you have to hold your feet a bit higher up. So it will make your tummy work. And then you're going to do dead bug. So you've got two options here. You can either do a single arm dead bug, or you can take both arms above your head. That's more challenging to keep your back down. So you need to keep your back pushed down to the floor all the time. Don't let it come up. So if you can't do that easily, go for the single arm extension. Off we go. And again, it's thumbs down to the ground. If you are extending both arms at the same time, you need to really work on pushing your back and bracing your core as you extend your arms. So you might find that this double arm extension is a bit awkward for shoulders as well. So if your shoulders are a bit tight, you might find it easier doing one side than the other. Last few seconds. 3, 2, 1. And then grab your cushion. And you're going to sit. I'll turn that way to the camera. Heels down, toes up. Hold the cushion in your hands like that. And you're going to bring your arms up. And then down. Now if you want to make it harder, lean back more. If you want to make it easier, sit up more. And you'll find quite quickly that even with a cushion, this is surprisingly challenging. Well done. Keep going. Again, I'm regretting the lack of a cushion. This thing only weighs 2 kilograms, but it makes it so much harder. 3, 2, 1. We're going to do one more each of those, and then we're stretching. So onto your back, cushion on your shins. Oh. Ready, 2, 1, off you go. So if you're doing this as the double arm extension, try and keep the whole of your back and the backs of your shoulders on the floor all the time. If your upper back's really tight and you've got a lot of tightness to your shoulders and your neck, then you might find a double arm extension really challenging. I can really feel how differently my shoulders move as well doing this. I'm so much tighter through one side of my upper back. Keep going. 10 more seconds. And then we've got one more of those teasers to go and then we're finished. Nearly there. 3, 2, 1. Sit up. So this double arm movement up again can be quite challenging. If you find that you get to a point where you just think that actually hurts now, just stop there. So even if you're only raising up the cushion a little bit, that's fine. Right, off we go. Brace your core as well, put your tummy into your spine. Good. And if you can really feel it in your lower back, then you can just do it with your legs straight. I did a long run yesterday and my God, my hips know about it. It's where I could feel everything this morning. Almost there. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Weights down, cushion down. First of all, roll onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. And really, really pull your knees in. Well done this morning. Some challenging stuff today. And then let one leg drop down to the floor. So completely straight, pull the other leg in. Hopefully you feel a stretch across the hip on your straight leg. And now I want you to think about actively pushing that straight leg away from you. So I've got my toes flexed up. Imagine you've got you're pushing a wall away from you. So you've got your foot against something and you're just pushing into it. Try and get that leg completely straight. And then just relax. And then change legs. So again, one leg straight, one leg bent, or pulled in rather. And then again, flexing up your toes, push against that imaginary wall. Really push into it. And then let that leg just relax. Good. And then roll over onto your front. We'll go into child pose. So feet together, knees slightly apart, lower down. And then you can just pull your fingers forward a little bit on the floor, but keep your heels in contact with your bum. And then take your arms over to one side. And then over to the other side. And then up into cat stretch. So hands underneath your shoulders, arch up your back. And then up and put one leg forward. So hip flexor stretch. Put your leg forward but not too far forward. Really, really tuck your bum under, chest high, and then push forward. Done. And then reach across. So I've got my right arm reaching across my left forward leg. And then change sides, so foot forward. Really tuck your bum under, push forward. Good, and then reach across. Good, and then put both knees back onto the floor, put your hands down, tuck your toes under, and just push up into downward dog, trying to get your heels as close to the ground as you can. And then just bend your knees, walk your hands in towards your feet, and really slowly stand up. And then you're done. Brilliant, well done. Well done today. There's some challenging stuff in there today, well done. Good work.
Thanks, Catherine.
Well done. Have a lovely week.
Thank you, Catherine.